up to this point, it's match point here for Blacklist International. Going to be looking to basically secure the series in a sweep. And I would love to see RRQ Akira take this one, take this game, extend the series, because that's what we want to see, right? Now also, they swap sides here, and Trex, already the first phase is done, and just like that, they're going to secure themselves the Benedetta for Edward.
Yeah, and that, I mean, that is, we saw how well he does on the Benedetta, and it's just something scary. Every time I see Blacklist lock that in for Edward, I'm just thinking, how do you even deal with that? The man is a monster. He's just everywhere. So once again, with him securing that pick, it's not going to be easy for them to bully Venus unless they can do it early on in the game. So RRQ Akira need to find a way to do that. What can they pick possibly to try to secure some early game advantage?
I don't know. I guess pick heroes that have a really quick hero power. I think they had a really good idea with picking up something like the Lilia for that mid lane to try and control that mid rotation. But as you can see here on your screen, RRQ Akira, they've secured the Lapu Lapu as well as the Claude for themselves. Now, my question is, the Lapu Lapu and the Benedetta, if they go in the same lane, how is that going to pan out, right? Because the Lapu Lapu does have some form of anti-CC, but so does the Benedetta.
I mean, it's just, technically it's just messy. Like, it looks like your favorite anime out there, right? It's,
Yes.
it's a lot of flashiness and jumping and dashes. So that's pretty much what you're going to see,
Nobody ever
right?
gets hurt. Nobody ever gets hurt. They're
Nobody
just...
ever gets hurt. It just looks really cool. And as that transitions into the game, it's pretty much, what do they do for those team fights? Now, one of the great things about Benedetta is the split push pressure, right? But Lapu Lapu, if he can even get an early kill with that Festival of Blood, he gets really beefy. A lot of the times, Lapu Lapu, you see him going 1 versus 2 and 3, but hold on again. Blacklist International taking out the Estes again.
Not only that, but they also have that Valentina in, and I got a feeling this is going to be a jungle Valentina most likely, possibly a mid, but still, that's the flexibility that they're bringing with that pick there, and it keeps RRQ Akira guessing in the second phase of bans. They are going to take their time with this final pick, but we do have a quote from Luis here. Blacklist International is one of the most dangerous teams in M4. But we believe in ourselves and optimistic that we can do well. Hopefully they can do well in this third game, because they were correct about the first part there. Blacklist International is definitely strong in taking them through the ringer here.
And we'll see if they can actually pull off a reverse sweep like we saw yesterday in the second match. But now we can see here, oh, okay, the Cho being picked up here from RRQ Akira. And this is quite good, right? Because the Cho can go into the backline, try and punish Estes in that backline. And so that is definitely something that they can go for coming into the second phase, though. RRQ Akira with the first ban.
So, I mean, that's the thing, right? With Valentino locked in here from Blacklist International, which ultimate do you want to take? Right now, it's just the way of the dragon for the most part, right? So RRQ Akira, knowing this, they're going to have to be careful in their last two choices after this second phase is done. But still, going back to the point when we saw Estes pop up in the first game, you've got to be able to work around that sustain. You need to have an answer for that, because what we've seen so far, the trend through this series also with Blacklist International is, if they don't want to fight you, they just disengage, right? And that's something that works so well for these first three heroes that they have here. So RRQ Akira locking in this Cho is a great option to pick your fights. That's literally what you want to do. Now, what we've seen so far up to this point is some great Cho gameplay and some, you know, not so great Cho gameplay, where like they'll try to get the combination off, the flicker, the way of the dragon, but then they're out-positioned. And once that's gone, once you're taken out of the picture, you know, you're down one member and you lose a lot of that utility.
So I really liked the Barat's ban here. I feel like they're thinking a bit ahead. I was expecting a Fredrin ban after this to really make sure that Blacklist can't secure that super beefy lineup here, right? Now, speaking of the not so great kicks from a Cho, right? If Oheb can secure something again, like, I mean, of course the carry's gone now, but the Beatrix still up, still plenty of options for him. They're gonna need to worry about him, because every time Luis goes in with this Cho, he's gonna get melted down. So he's either gonna need to use that aggressiveness early on to focus down onto Venus and try to make plays happen, because if it goes too long once again, it's gonna be far too late to turn it.
I agree with you. And now the last ban coming in from Farsa. from Blacklist is going to be that Farsa. And now RRQ Akira, they have the first pick. It's interesting because I'm also reading the comments of the live chat, right? And a lot of people have actually mentioned that a great way to counter Blacklist is more AoE damage. So perhaps we might see that coming in from RRQ Akira. And we kind of get that from the Xavier, right? It's scary because it's very easy to counter because of how immobile Xavier is as a hero. But if the Xavier has a good time in the laning phase, is able to get those core items for that damage, the spammability of the ultimate to be able to, 1, deal the burst damage, and to 2, open up vision on the map is going to be huge for them.
I like that you pointed out there, right? Because I know there's a lot of highly ranked people watching the M series here.
Oh yeah, the best.
And the
All
best.
the pros.
And that's the thing though, right? Yes, AoE is a great thing, but if it's just healed back up and you pretty much used all your AoE, then
But they
you
have
know
two.
that well if you have yeah, you have the Xavier, but also like you still need to be able to follow up on that when it's healed back up. And now something we haven't seen often up to this point is this combination that we saw so much of in previous even MPL regions, the Valentina Faramis combination.
Not only that, but the Valentina does get rotated there over into the jungle, but RRQ Akira was quick. They already knew what they wanted to pick as their jungle. They didn't waste any time. They picked up the Basha. Now, we haven't seen that many great things from the Basha so far, and with this being game point, the question is, will it succeed? Now, RRQ Akira has their backs against the wall right now. This is match point for Blacklist. They're going to need to pull a lot of tricks out of a lot of hats right now if they want to succeed in this, and it's definitely not going to be easy. The question on everyone's mind in the stands, in the live chat, is definitely if they can do it. The RQ fans want to help them out here, but I just don't know if they're going to be able to make it. So now, as we go into the land of Dawn, Blacklist trying to secure match point against RRQ Akira. RRQ Akira trying to defend and maybe take this to a game 4 or 5. Eterna, can they do it?
That's the question. The odds are stacked against them this time. And even looking at the drafts, Blacklist have drafted themselves in a way that they are so sustainable, right? They have the AoE healing coming in from Oh My Venus, as well as, wait a second here, Sagan gonna get caught really low. And this is scary, right? Because we need the Xavier to be able to scale with the Clock of Destiny and the Lightning Truncheon as well. And if that doesn't happen, I'm doubting if RRQ Akira have enough damage to penetrate through the healing coming in from Oh My Venus, as well as that extra HP from the Faramis.
Yeah, already Blacklist being very aggressive. And it's almost surprising because you see the Estes and you expect there not to be too much, but they're just so good. They have so much faith in Oh My Venus that they're willing to just push forward and get as much damage in that mid lane as possible. Now, Edward and Takashi also having this faded anime battle, as Naisu predicted. Definitely very entertaining, but possible action up in the top side. Naisu, how do you feel about that matchup?
Well, overall, I mean, it's really, I don't expect anyone to go down before that first turtle anyway, but I mean, we didn't even get a chance to talk about the Baksha pick, right, that much, because King rolling with this option here.
Rolling.
Literally, pun intended. The thing is we haven't seen Baksha too much, but it's still a great utility tank jungler here. But already, you know, Luis doesn't have that Way of the Dragon, but should be able to get out just fine. And that's the thing, right? It's Wise that is going to be playing that Valentina like we saw here. And now you have that option, that dynamic. What ultimates do we take? How do we use it? Turtle coming up here in just a couple seconds. Let's see how this all plays out here.
We'll see exactly how this pans out. Remember, RRQ Brazil, they need Sagan to get that level 4, which he hasn't, but Takashi here already.
Oh, they're gonna crash down on Wise. They already get the Cult Altar out here, but it's a first blood for Takashi. Able to secure himself the first one. Now Edward gonna be the focus. Has to get back to the turret. And this could be the first turtle going in the hands of RRQ Akira. Oh My Venus there, trying to get some vision available, but look at the burst! Takashi comes in, able to grab another.
A very, very nice start for RRQ Brazil. I was a little bit worried, but it seems like they have come online at 2 minutes and 40 seconds. If they can hold this together, then maybe they could take this to a possible win. But remember, they started last game strong. Now, with some of these items, how are you feeling about it, Eterna?
Nothing just too fancy just yet. We're not at that point where anyone has built that first item, but you can see that the Boxia is going to have a huge impact in that early game, right? He's going towards a lot of items that are going to be able to make him more sustainable in his team fights. But talking about team fights, Luis goes in.
Luis able to take down Oh My Venus, and now they're going to be focusing on Haji here. He's trying to get out, had to use that Purify as well. Purifies out of it and lives to fight another day.
So right there with the Basha, we're starting to see with that Tortoise Poisons, with that ultimate, I love the name of that ultimate, by the way. It's a way to kind of counter the Estes because of that constant DPS damage over time without relying on the CC that they try to do in game one. So once again, RRQ Brazil finding answers elsewhere on the map. Another big difference now with this game and last game is they had a bit of a lead in aggression early on, but they didn't have much of a gold lead. This time, Brazil not only leading in kills and map control, but also holding a decent gold lead in the game.
Another thing about the Boxia is that he's so mobile, right? He can go on every point of the map really quickly, and that's why we're seeing that they're leading in that rotation. And right now you can see even him, he's trying to penetrate into the jungle of Blacklist, trying to pressure out Wise here, who is kind of falling far behind here. Wise still level 6 as compared to King, who is level 7.
I mean, he's doing a great job, right? King knows the lead that he has, knows the mobility advantage that he has as well, and he's playing around that. That's exactly what RRQ Akira needs to do here. This is the refined version, or at least playstyle that they went with, and that they're executing really well. Couldn't convert into another objective take for them, but you can already see Blacklist International trying to get in position here for this second turtle of the game. And now it's going to be pulled out. Still, there's King. I was waiting for him to roll up here. Finds Haji, forces him back. Takashi quite low. Bravest fighter in. Luis, though, with the way of the dragon. Oh My Venus has to pop the heal. Able to survive a little bit longer, but it's going to be the turtle secured for Gusta Lagusta. And in the mid lane, still going at it, looking for Haji. Oh. Sagan falls, but he gets punished as well. 2 down for Blacklist International.
That is a good trade, though. I mean, 2 for 1, plus the turtle in the hands of Brazil here. I think they were listening to you, Eterna, because they have been focusing hard on Venus. In literally the first few minutes, 2 kills on a Venus. This is going to slow him down so much. And Blacklist, for the first time in 3 games, fallen behind.
Oh, but right now, if we're taking a look at the items here in the 5th minute, we see that Claude already built up his DHS, but Luis, man, oh man. As aggressive as he can be at the moment, and you just saw Oheb secure that BOD. So DHS versus BOD, it seems like Oheb has actually reached that power spike a little bit earlier, since of course Gusta Lagusta is still waiting on that golden staff, which means when they go in for 5v5, Blacklist might have the better upper hand if they play the team fight a little bit better and try shut down Luis from taking out Oh My Venus in the backline.
Yeah, I think this is the first time we've really seen Luis feel comfortable while playing along with Takashi, right? At least in the knockout stage, both of them just having fun with this. Not only that, another big thing to point out, that gold lane tower is gone, and this is exactly what Gusta Lagusta wants. The only downfall, the only worry I have on my mind for Brazil right now is once again, no kills on Oheb. And I'm pretty sure he's already got that bot locked in. He's got the boots locked in. He's going to start dealing some damage if he gets involved into these fights, which will look at him already into the mid lane.
Look at here on the bottom side, Edward using an electro final blow to get out of there. But, you know, Takashi's doing work here for RRQ Akira. It's 3K gold lead at this point in the game, at almost to the 7-minute mark. Next turtle is going to be up here in just a second, and RRQ Akira is in a great position to contest it as they focus on Oh My Venus. Dawning Light going to miss just barely here by an edge, and now it's Edward going in. There's the Colt Ulcer to respond. The kick comes out. Nobody going down just yet. RRQ Akira running. It's Saigon that falls under the turret.
Oh man, with 1 member down, now Blacklist, they're gonna have the upper hand when it comes down to this neutral objective take. They're gonna get that turtle for free, and they're gonna be able to push the limits a bit more. RRQ Brazil, though, they're still leading, but look at how aggressive they start to go in that top side. Gusta Lagusta forced to retreat as of right now, as in the bottom side.
Wow, Takashi and Edward still going out here on the bottom side, holding on to that turret, half health here. The enemy battle continues. Takashi looking to get in position, just going to focus on the turret. Can't get it though as the last minion goes down there, so still a back and forth. But Blacklist International lessening the gold lead from RRQ Akira.
Yeah, all it took was a second, and this is what Blacklist is known for, the rubber band right around that mid-game power spike. Now it seems like the sustainability is coming in check. I mean, you have the Estes, plus you have this Fermis, and as we saw earlier, RRQ Brazil brought out all the guns. They brought out everything they could in that mid-lane skirmish and just didn't put a dent into Blacklist. I'm wondering if it has anything to do with these items.
I mean, to be honest, RRQ Brazil, they really need this Claude to start popping off, because if we take a look at that gold gap, it's quite evident, right? He is trying to get that cross corrosion scythe with the Swift crossbow, but I'm wondering if it's gonna pop up fast enough and if the damage is going to be enough, because once again, I'm still doubting. I mean, I'm still very concerned of how sustainable Blacklist is going to be, especially now that we see that RRQ Brazil, they haven't had any chance to pick up an anti-regen item.
I mean, but Brazil is still being proactive on the map right now, still being aggressive. They've taken another tower in the gold side, and Blacklist, on the other hand, has only taken one from Brazil. Now, Turtle is going to be, no, Lord will be up in just very soon. So if Brazil can possibly secure this next major huge objective, it could help some secure this mid-game, but it's definitely not going to be easy. The gold has led up a little bit in the hands of Brazil. Now, I'm feeling good about it. I'm hoping Brazil can bring us to another game, but it's definitely not going to be easy.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a good position here, and that's why they're going to go ahead and start up the Lord Dance. Wise holding on to that Way of the Dragon here. I don't think anyone's going to commit just yet here, but on the bottom side, it looks like Oheb was going to be the focus, but already, look at that. The damage is there. Gusa Lagusa going to have to go back here, and still, it's a little bit of a dicey situation for RRQ Akira. And at this point, they have been putting pressure around the map, opening it up for themselves, but I don't think they're still in a comfortable position to actually fight this Lord just off the bat. They've got to still handle the sustain coming out. Yes, you have the boxer, you have the passive for you, but it's going to be up to Luis here as he goes in with a conceal, looking for the bottom side. Can't get Haji, though. They are chunked quite low. Cold Altar still going to be hold on. It's committed now. Oh, my Venus getting slammed down. Takashi goes in for another kill here. They're going to back off. They have the numbers advantage. Edward taking out Luis, though. Haji still up as well. RRQ Akira. Do they press the situation? It's a one-for-one trade here. It's going to be dicey. King, though, trying to decide if they want to go for it.
Gusa Lagusa opens up his ultimate here as Oheb.
Nice pickup there from Gusa Lagusta. Able to grab the kill, but is it still? That's the question. Wise is still there. This is not a green light just yet to start at the Lord, but Wise getting focused up by Takashi again. 1 versus 4 here in the bush. Gonna get dragged back a little bit. Takashi can't survive that as Haji grabs the kill. Killing spree. Meanwhile, RRQ Akira still working on the Lord here. Dawning Light comes out. Wise quite low. Took the bravest fighter. Now Edward trying to get some vision, an angle if he can. Gusa Lagusa, though, gonna push him back here. Still the fight for the Lord. Edward goes down. Cold Altar comes out. It's Wise with the Lord again. How does he do it? But RRQ Akira gonna push them back. Everybody quite low. Saigon with a huge Mystic Field.
I mean, win or lose here. That was one intense Lord fight. And I like the fact that Brazil didn't force that Lord fight. They did lose out on the Lord, but overall, they're still kind of controlling the map here. They take another tower. Now, quick second, because Oheb's Beatrix has picked up 8 games in M, has been picked 8 games in M3 with an 87.5% win rate. You match that up with the Estes win rate from earlier for Venus, and it is definitely spelling out for trouble, Eterna.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we're seeing the Filipino sniper himself go into action. I mean, need we remind you that he was the MVP of M3 Finals, right? And he even was able to pick out a skin for M3. So coming into this game, I'm not really sure if RRQ Brazil want to do that same thing that they did. That fight was a little too prolonged, and when it gets prolonged like that, it feels like Blacklist has the upper hand because of the constant healing that is happening by Oh My Venus. Take him out, great, but you have to go in, try burst him down. But Haji, he goes into the front line, deals a little bit of damage, but this is all allowing Blacklist to push that tempo as well as to zone away the members of RRQ Brazil.
Well, they're still going to be working on this tier 2 here. They might just be able to get it cleanly as they do. Dawning Light comes out. No one going to go down, though, but Map advantage is what Blacklist International wants here. Takashi going again. There's the Blessing of the Moon, guys. They find Oheb, and now it's Oh My Venus on the focus here. Haji going to be in a bad position. Dawning Light comes out. It's another that falls. Luis with a massive Way of the Dragon, finding Wise, and it's Edward in trouble now. RRQ Akira marching down the mid lane, totally taking out Blacklist International.
That is insane, and they want to keep going. Takashi with that dive forward, taking care of these towers, pushing forward. Are we going to see a game 4? Brazil trying.
Brazil going to push in. Haji holding on for dear life here. They've got the minion waves. It's only a couple seconds, and RRQ Akira is going to do it. They extend the series as they take game number 3.
RRQ Akira coming back, rising from the ashes, and proving that the L is not for lose, but it is for learn. So we're going to see... Well, that too. I mean, that was a huge Cho play, right?
Yeah.
He was able to get Wise off the board and take all the members from Blacklist down one by one. And this is what I mentioned, right? If they go in with the burst damage that they have in their kit, they're going to be able to win out in those team fights. They did that perfectly. They did not try and prolong the fight. They didn't play towards the tempo that Blacklist brought onto them. And here it is, 1-2. Still match point, but now RRQ Brazil, they have a chance for the reverse sweep.
And taking a look at this winning moment, look at them. They are hyped. They are ready. Takashi takes the challenge versus Agent Zero. RRQ Akira takes game 3. And I just love that. You know, when a team is that behind, up against the wall, and they get a win like this, it's definitely one of those hype moments. I was standing here excited for them.
I mean, they got the crowd dance buff right there, as you see, right? But that's the thing. Again, Takashi, massive game here on that Lapu Lapu. I guess we found out who wins this season of the anime battle, right? But still, I gotta say that it was a team effort, obviously. And even with Luis on that Cho pick, this was now a game where, hey, you know what? That's a pretty good game for Cho, right? From what we're seeing here. So I still think that, again, it's match point, like you mentioned, Eterno, right? Blacklist International, 1 game away here. But this is life. This is lifeblood for RRQ Akira. All the fans out there, even from, we know how much Brazil is rallying there. And this is a good step because, hey, what did we see yesterday, right? It was a possible reverse sweep, and this is the first step towards that. And hopefully, we see more of that refinement coming out from RRQ Akira for game number 4 ahead of us.
I mean, not only that, but we've seen them get stronger and stronger and stronger from game 1 to game 2 to now. I mean, RRQ Brazil definitely looks very, very good. Definitely wonder how things are hanging over there on the analysis desk. We'll see you soon.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and back in the analyst stands, Takashi Astro Thunder strikes in the 3rd game. So it's going to be a 2-1 series. Let's talk about the drafts here. Leo, Lafell, and Goni back in the analyst stand.
I think it's safe to say that RRQ Akira just, as a baseline, had an awesome draft.
I love it. I absolutely love it. This is the kind of draft that we were looking for. Like, okay, countering the S's, we've tried, okay, them clumping up together. I'm like, I mean, there's this one hero that just like makes it so that 50% of the HP healing is gone.
And that's the Bakshan King.
Yeah.
And not just that, if they want to clump up, if they do get away from the Tortoise Poissons, there's this one hero that's just so easily capable of diving into the back line.
Dude, I just feel like the more I see the matches here in M4 World Championship, I'm falling more and more in love with Lapu Lapu, man, because the glue is great and all, but something about Lapu Lapu that just strikes fear into people from the back lines.
We have to acknowledge Astro Thunder, right? And it's known that I've rapped for Blacklist multiple times, but we have to sing. We have to sing for Tekash, right? It seems like the lava
I mean, in general,
like
the
the
XP
Lebanese
laners
is a
in
little
this current patch are just outstanding. And Takashi, in particular, in the 3rd game, he is outstanding. He knows what his roles are, and he knows targeting, prioritizing the right targets, timing as well. And in a bit, we are going to enter the item builds, but any final thoughts before we do?
Okay, you talked about him knowing what to do. I still remember the fact that the Benetta he knows where the Benetta's gonna dash. Like, you're going here. I know exactly
I'ma stun you right there.
I'm gonna stun you right now. That was amazing.
That was a trademark Astro Thunder moment. I think in the year that RRQ Akira has dominated their region, they've watched so many games, and they know that it was gonna come to this eventually. Again, this is fate, that they can get their vengeance, their comeuppance against Blacklist, and this is a statement game. After losing 2 games straight, they get 1, and then they're still here.
I guess let's talk about Boxia pick, all right? I mean, King with the Boxia, 316, building tech as well. Perhaps you got any insight from that, LaFell?
My insight here is looking at King as well as Saigon, they're kind of doing what they were supposed to do when they have the Atlas, when they have the Lolita, because the Lolita as well as the Atlas provides a lot of AoE control, but it doesn't really matter because of the Purify. So having someone like a Xavier that's able to spam it out, especially once the Enchanted Talisman is there, keep spamming all of those lockdowns, making it so that they have enough crowd control. So it's no longer on to Luis and King. He didn't even build the Dominance Eyes. That's just how strong the Boxia is. Later in the stage of the game, he could build it if he wanted to. But because of the passive coming in from Boxia, it's really not needed.
True, and with confidence as well. Let's take a look at the post stats for Brazilian members taking the categories here. Gusta Lagusta, what do you got?
I really think we have to start respecting Gusta Lagusta's Claude, and maybe, speaking for Blacklist here, make him uncomfortable. Take away the Claude from this young man from Brazil. Also, I have to give some credits to Saigon, the way he used this Savior, which I, again, have so many times on record said, wait for that Savior, wait for him to get the items. He didn't wait for any items. They ended the game at 13.
Yeah, and again, I gotta say, I like the way that they're adapting it. It's like, yeah, we don't really need him for the damage. It really is just to make sure that he has the crowd control, he has the lockdown. So I like the way that they're really manipulating their own draft in saying, we need crowd control. And Luis is like, I don't have to be the only one doing it, right? I mean, like, Saigon could just pitch in, so I love that. I love the adaptation. And again, we want longer games. We want 5-game series, don't we?
We do, and it was a dominating performance from the Brazilians. 14-5 was the total kills. And my God, I can't wait for Game 4. But ladies and gentlemen, back again. Let's talk about now Blacklist International. They lost the 3rd game. I'm sure they have the mentality to come back at Game 4.
Not just the mentality, but also the draft. This was another signature Blacklist draft, right? Every single player was playing a hero that they were well known for, but there may have been a few gaps in their draft that was just exploited by RRQ Akira. Coach Cabral really, again, learning every game and every draft.
It's a very, very interesting match. So let's take a look at the MVP for Game 3. It is going to be Takashi on that Lapu-Lapu fell 6-1-4. Oh, not 6-1-9.
The Astro Thunder, man. Again, he clashes over and over again. And the thing is, he doesn't shy away from a fight. I kind of feel like this is the best way to use the Lapu-Lapu.
Oh, yeah.
You think it's not a good fight to take? Nah, it's all good because looking at the items as well, the moment he has the Bloodless Axe, he can just go in. And even if he does die, I mean, he did die once in the game, it would take like, what, 4 members of Blacklist to make that happen? Investing so much onto Takashi, giving so much space for everyone else. I mean, come on. This is MVP material.
So let's take a look again. The heat map for Takashi, building that hybrid build. Hunter Strike, Bloodlust for that attack, but also building Oracle and Dominance for extra security. Let's take a look at the rotation for the first 5 minutes by Takashi.
In the first 5 seconds, you see him making his way straight for, again, his lane. He knows that he can win that matchup against the Benedetta, which at worst would be a non-starter, right? You just won't see each other given the amount of dashes you both have as XP laners. But you also see how much pressure he put into cutting. He made sure that if he left his lane, if he was going to help the other members of RRQ Akira, he would have already done his job as the XP laner. And then from there, it was Edward who was responding.
This is the sign of a very good EXP laner when you're not only controlling your own lane, but you're actually influencing the jungle as well as the mid lane. And seriously, look at every really strong EXP laners. They don't just handle their own lane. They make sure that people in mid as well as in the jungle is aware that at any moment, Takashi could just pop up. You know, he's just slamming down with his big sword and really influence like where you can actually move around the map. So looking at this, I really like the high pressure, just like you said, cutting the waves so that he has priority in terms of moving anywhere else. So kind of like limiting the amount of space that Blacklist International really has.
So let's take a look at the highlights here. What did he do in particular? Helping out turtles, rotation. His timing is impeccable.
Everything. Takashi did everything.
Takashi's
You see,
everything?
Yeah, if he needs to kill someone, he will. If he needs to, again, cut to the
Cover.
back line, make that engagement for Blacklist International awkward, he will. And if he needs to die, now one time he did, right here, he will. Because again, at least it made it awkward for Blacklist to commit for the Lord and then lose out men on the way back. This is just Takashi's game.
I want to see some kind of edit with Lapu Lapu. It's like, raise your hand in the air if you really don't care. Because every single time he jumps, it's like, it might be a bad idea, but I don't care. I will let God decide I live or die. And
Yep.
that is what I see throughout the game. It could be calculated, but in my own hit canon, I want it to be like, I'm just trying out. And I'm going to let the hero speak for itself.
Suggestion for this montage, background music, Travis